What was Jesus' real name? Jesus' name in Hebrew was Yeshua. So how did we get the name Jesus, and is Christ actually a last name? Perhaps the most well-known name in the entire world, Jesus Christ, is the name of the Messiah of the Christian faith, and that name has become pretty widespread regardless of your personal beliefs. But there's something unusual about the name Jesus, since in the original copies of the Bible his Hebrew name is actually written as Yeshua, which more closely aligns to the English name Joshua. The New Testament originally wasn't written in English or Hebrew but rather Greek. The Old Testament, or the books of the first half of the Bible, were written originally in Hebrew and Aramaic, but the latter half of the Bible or New Testament was written in Greek. How did Yeshua become translated to Jesus in the text? A Greek-English lexicon compiled in the 19th century by Henry George Liddell, Robert Scott, and others. Yeshua was translated into ancient Greek as Jesus, and that's because the original authors of the New Testament were trying to convert the sound of the Hebrew name into Greek letters. But since they didn't have the letters or spelling to represent the SH sound in their language, they substituted an S sound in the middle, and that led them to Jesus. But even though there were other men with the first name Yeshua in the Bible in the Old Testament, and also men with the same name who were contemporaries of Jesus, their names were written in Hebrew, thus stuck closer to the Joshua translation once their names were converted into English, but it took a while for the J sound to be placed in front of Jesus. It wasn't until 16th century English translations of the Bible that Jesus was spelled as Jesus. So the men named Yeshua in the Old Testament became Joshua's, and the Yeshua of the New Testament transliterated Phi. But that brings us to our third and final question: how did Christians arrive at the full title Jesus Christ? Well, in Hebrew, to help distinguish between people with the same name from different places. But in the Christian faith, Jesus is noted as the Son of Mary and God, so the traditional naming of Jesus, son of Joseph, Mary's husband, in the Bible wouldn't be fitting. Instead, during his lifetime, he was known as Jesus of Nazareth, drawing the second half of his name from where he was from and not from either parent. The Christ portion of his name isn't a last name at all, but a word translate that, which means the Messiah or God's anointed one, who is prophesied and foretold about in the Jewish faith. So Christ in this case functions more like a title, as in Jesus the anointed one or Jesus the Messiah, rather than his last name.